Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos podcast. We down here in the Rats Hill Bunker in Barbershop Studio. It is the end of week 30. We're moving on to week 31. We haven't been on down here for a while, Jarrett. It's been a lot of things have been happening.
The international break.
International break mostly.
Now I know what they call it. Here comes a dad joke.
Oh.
Call it the international break. Someone gets their shit broken. There's so many injuries.
Yeah.
Lewan Golski out of the Champs League.
Declan Rice
out. Who else? There's other big names. Sergio Ramos is out. Varane is out for.
Varane got COVID
for
though.
Real. Oh, he did.
Yeah.
All that international travel.
Yeah. Surprisingly though, well, not surprisingly because I think everybody's a little bit more careful. They know how to do the COVID protocol and all that. But there's been they've been doing their testing every week in the Premier League and otherwise, and I think there was only one positive test in the last round of testing, and there was thousands of tests, so that's pretty good.
Which is impressive, because I feel like, at least over here, and I guess we'll just speak about the immediate Massachusetts, but no, it's the entire United States.
Yeah.
The Rangers Stadium had 35,000 fans all breathing on each other, and none of them were wearing masks. So, the pandemic necessarily, it isn't over. We're just, I don't know, are we just not giving a shit anymore?
No, thousands of people are still getting it everywhere.
You know, Brazil, I know we're getting off topic of the podcast, but Brazil had 4,000 deaths.
Oh, yeah.
A day.
Oh, yeah.
And their president's just no, it's not a big deal. It's cool.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's cool.
Nobody cares.
It's on you.
But some good news is that I got my first COVID vaccine shot.
Ooh.
So I'll be fully vaccinated in a couple weeks.
We should all hopefully be fully vaccinated by June, so maybe then we can start playing around with having guests down here in the barbershop.
That would be, you have to be vaccinated, though.
You have to be vaccinated, you have to be cool, and you have to be invited.
And you also have to prove that you got the vaccine, so you got to show your card.
Gotta show your card, yeah.
Sorry.
And you gotta take a selfie each time you go, and you get a video, and you have to show that.
Yeah. And you have to post it on Instagram. Tag Boys and Bolos.
Hashtag Boys and Bolos vaccine.
Facts.
What if we just trend and people it's like the new QAnon cult. What if Boys and Bolos just turned into some weird conspiracy thing about anti-vaxxing?
Like a right wing type of thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
But right wing, but kind of, yeah, I don't know. We're getting way off topic.
It's a little off brand for us.
It's very off brand. We're so left wing though that we're right wing.
Oh, there we go.
It's like a circle thing. Anyways, we haven't done a podcast in years, and we were supposed to have a guest tonight, but that didn't work out because life happens. So today, it's tough for me to talk about where things are right now because my world is up and it's down. Because Chelsea, we're recording right now Wednesday, Chelsea just beat Porto 2-0 in the Champions League. But
semifinal. Quarterfinal.
But then 5 days before, we lose 5-2 to West Bromwich Albion.
You got your shit kicked in.
Yeah, bad. So, what's going on with the world?
Here's my theory.
You got a theory.
You can't trust the first game after international break for a barometer of how the rest of your season's going to go.
Ever.
Never,
I think that's really fair. I think if that's a stat, and I wish we had our intern to look up the amount of times, the difference of position, right? Where the gap, for example, West Brom beating Chelsea. Chelsea's in 4th, West Brom's in 19th. So 19, so 15 spots. Right. So we'll call that 15. How many, what's the gap? Are there bigger gap upsets after the international break? And maybe the answer is yes, strictly just because the teams in the bottom half aren't going to be sending guys out on international break, whereas the teams in the top 7, top 8, even top 10 are going to have guys that are going to be called out and have to go. Is that kind of where your theory bases itself?
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal lost pretty badly to a Liverpool team, right? So that's not that great. Everton tied Crystal Palace. They should have easily beaten Crystal Palace.
Tottenham tied,
and another late tying game.
A very, very subpar Newcastle team. Chelsea lose to West Brom. Leicester really didn't show up against Man City, but I think that's you can't really, if we're talking about the difference of position, that's 1-3, but really Man City's probably Man City's the kids in high school that finished with 4.8 GPAs because they were taking college credits in junior and senior year. So you can't really compare them.
No, they have 2 full squads, and both their squads would be, top 3 in the Premier League easy.
Devastating.
So, I was saying to you before the games were even played that it's going to be, I just don't like the first game after international break. I don't like it Don't like it. Don't think it's a good barometer. I think players are coming back. I think there were a lot of players that came back like literally 2 days before the game. So I just don't think you can't judge how, like, you can't get too worked up whether it's a good game or if it's, too worked up if it's a bad game. So,
I just think with the season coming to a close, and this is week 30, so we only have 8 weeks left. The season's almost over. Right? The season ends in mid-May, so we're looking at 7 to 8 weeks of games. We have a bunch of Champions League. We have FA Cup finishing up. You guys have the final against City in the Carabao Cup. There's just so much to play, and I just feel like every game now, even though the wins and the losses are the same throughout the season, they seem more heavy as you get closer.
Yeah, I mean, there's still top 4 to play for. I mean,
and
there were like 7 teams playing for top 4.
Yeah, with Liverpool winning, Tottenham tying, Leicester and Chelsea losing, and Everton tying, the top 4, you're like have 5 teams trying to cram into 2 spots right now.
Right.
I don't know if Leicester will drop the points. I think that they're almost kind of out of it, but I do think you've got Chelsea, Tottenham, Everton, Liverpool, and West Ham going for 1 Champions League spot.
Yeah, I think for West Ham, and if there's any West Ham fans listening, I don't think there are a lot, but they should really be hoping for Europa League. I think that's a good stepping stone for that club. They'll be able to attract some talent, keep some players, get some money in, get their fans excited again about coming to games, sell season tickets and sell out every game, that type of thing. And they'll have Europa League, and it'll be a good test for them because they'll need more players in the rotation to play those midweek games. They're going to get their shit kicked in the Champions League because they're not going to go play. There's no like Austrian farmers that they're going to play against like they do in Europa. And so I think they should shoot for 5th or 6th. Like, obviously they're always going to fight for 4th because Champions League is Champions League. You get the money for it. You get the prestige for it. You'll be able to attract some players. You'll be able to keep Lingard, that sort of thing. But really let the big boys play in Champions League. Let the big boys play. And I'm just talking purely from a like fatigue, like load management for their players.
I mean, we're already seeing it now. Declan Rice is out. Yeah. And I think now with Declan Rice out, to push more pressure on Souček, so I wouldn't be surprised if Souček gets injured in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's not to like wish that he gets injured because I actually think he's one of the better players in the Prem, and I don't wish injury on anybody. But I just think he's got to pick up so much weight. And they have to play Chelsea soon, and that game is huge. It's a London derby. It's now a top 4 battle. We'll see. But I totally agree. If they go into the Champions League, it's going to be a one-and-done situation. They're going to get rocked out in the group phase. I just think there's way too much weight there, and I don't think they're holding on to Declan Rice or Souček this summer. So that changes the entire dynamic of the way that team flows.
Right, because they can keep Lingard with the money that they get from Declan Rice and Souček, but they're not going to be able to bring another big player in. And they're just not the type of club that's built to play on 2 fronts and then also play FA Cup, Carabao Cup,
Papa John's Cup,
and the league, because the league is still like very competitive. I mean,
and the league's going to be even more competitive next year because once Liverpool has their center back,
right.
There's just, if Liverpool have their center back, if Van Dijk could play the entire season, West Ham isn't even in the conversation.
No,
that's my take.
Because the top 4 is a lock.
Yeah, the top 4 gets even tighter, and then it's really between Chelsea and Leicester, who's right now going for the 4th, because Liverpool would be probably more in the top 3.
Yeah. You never know how the last games are, like 8 games are going to work out, right? So it could come down to goal differential, could come down to the last game of the season. So there's a lot to play for.
But it's been good. If you're a Hammers fan, I think you are excited about where they are. But in the last 8 games, hopefully you're coming down to earth a little bit and you're finding a little bit more. You're being a little bit more pragmatic and realistic with what the season could bring. And if you finish top 6, that's really great. If you finish top 4, I unfortunately think your team's going to get gutted. And next year's just not going to be as exciting. But I think going to Europe, when I say Europe, I mean Europa League. I think that's a better fit. But we're going to see. I mean, do you think Leicester could somehow drop the points like they did last year and just do this death spiral? Because that's kind of what, honestly, that's what we both need to make sure that Chelsea and Tottenham get in. Because otherwise, the top 3 are kind of locked if we're to assume that Leicester isn't going to do a death spiral.
It's only like 3 or 4 points, I think, that Leicester is ahead of. It's 4 points that's Leicester's ahead of West Ham right now. And so, I mean, it's literally like
it's a game and a third.
It's a game and a tie, and you're out of the top 4.
Let's look at who Leicester.
You lose a game, you tie a game, you're out of the top 4. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
They play West Ham this week. We're going to get to this week's games. That's going to be a fire game.
Yep.
Then they play other big games that they have to go through. They have to play United, Chelsea, and Tottenham. So Leicester, just like Chelsea, they have out of the last 8 games, they have to play 4 teams that are in the top 8 and just top clubs. United's in a good moment. Tottenham are you don't want to play Tottenham. No one wants to play Tottenham. They got a guy up top who's probably one of the best number 9s in the world. And on any good day, if their defense holds together, they're not an easy team to score against. No. Same thing can be said at Chelsea. We just don't have the top 9. We don't have a 9 up top. United's, I don't want to play against United. They're horrible. Like, they just beat City recently. Yeah. You don't want to play against them. So it's going to really come down, and I think it's going to come down, and this is what you said at the beginning of the season. You said, hey, top 4 is going to come down to goal differential. Full stop. And with that said, Spurs are actually in a really good position because even though you're only 1 game behind West Ham, you have 8 more goals for in the goal differential.
Right.
So if it gets tight, you're always going to pull ahead of West Ham.
And that's why
you get to play them too, which is phenomenal.
And that's why Chelsea getting 5 goals scored in them was not the most ideal time for them.
It was only a -3 because it was 5-2.
Okay.
But nonetheless, not a good
uncharacteristic for this Chelsea team.
Well, it was almost kind of like if we just given up a goal in the last 5 games and not had this unbelievable run of like shutouts. If you do that, it kind of like averages out, and then we tie a couple games instead of losing all 3 points. So it kind of like comes out in the wash. I think that's how at least the Chelsea group like in Boston was trying to basically justify it. It's like, hey, we're going to get goals scored on us eventually, so pick your poison, know.
For the team that, and I mentioned this on the pod a couple weeks ago, the team that it's most indicative that they're either lucky or they've just had opportune goals is Everton, where their goal differential is only like 3, right? And so that may actually really hurt them when they're trying to battle for a top 6 spot. If they're in the conversation for top 4, it might just totally push them out. So Everton slipped up. They slipped up. Tottenham slipped up. We'll see how it works out.
Kieran Tierney is out for 4 weeks, and he has been, as we say, Tiernino, he's been very strong for them. And with Aubameyang basically being...
We're talking about Arsenal now.
We're talking about Arsenal. I'm just switching. We're talking about Arsenal. But with Aubameyang basically being, as I heard the other day on the interwebs, the new Özil, as in a massive contract who could be from an underproducing player. With Saka potentially injured, if Saka doesn't play, Aubameyang's whatever, and Tierney's out, they're in trouble. Like, we said the highest they could finish was 8th, and we got a lot of shtick from that. Scheimer wasn't very happy about that. Other people haven't been happy about that. But their last 8 games go as follows. They have to play West Brom. When you play a team that's in relegation, they have 0 things to lose because they're already assuming they're going down. So they're just super hungry. They're not going to try to play for a tie. They're just going to go for a win. They're going to try to get as many points on the table as possible. Then they play Chelsea, which is going to be let me back up. They play Sheffield, which is a banana peel. Then they play Arsenal, which is a derby, then they play Fulham, which is a derby, and that's going to be difficult because I don't think Fulham's easy to play. Then they play Everton. Both teams need the points. Everton definitely need the points if they're trying to get into Europe. If Everton don't win that game, they're not getting to Europe. Then they play Newcastle, not an easy game. West Brom, also not an easy game. These 2 teams are basically fighting to get a relegation. Then, like I said, they play Chelsea, which is a derby, and we will be going all out. Like, we need max points now. Obviously, you could say, yeah, everybody needs max points, but with what Chelsea's trying to do for next year, the players we want to get, we need to be in the top 4. Then they play Crystal Palace, another derby, and then they finish with Brighton Hove Albion, which is not an easy game. So, I really think with Arsenal's injuries, the fact that Aubameyang is kind of like, meh, I don't think they're finishing higher than 8th. I think 8th would be, the way the season has panned out, I think 8th would be generous. Just because I think all the teams in front of them should be in front of them. Aston Villa is better, Everton's better, Liverpool, Tottenham, West Ham, Man City, Leicester, and Man United.
I mean, they're tied in points with Leeds right now.
They're tied with points with Leeds, for sure. And Crystal Palace is only 4 points back, a game and a third back. And they still have to play. And that's a derby, and Crystal Palace isn't easy to play.
No.
Crystal Palace maybe doesn't have the best defense in the world, but Guaita's not Guaita's a pretty solid goalie. And then they have crazy amounts of things going forward with Benteke, Zaha, Batshuayi coming off the bench scoring a goal, Eze. They're just not an easy team to play against. Anyways, I was just thinking about that the other day, that I think Arsenal is kind of going to come down to earth, because where did Arsenal finish last year? 7th? So they could finish eighth.
They finished seventh and then they won the FA Cup.
Finish seventh and won the FA Cup. They're going to go trophyless this season.
Right.
And they're probably going to finish a farther spot back. Having paid Aubameyang $300,000 a week to basically do nothing. And they have Willian. They're paying him $200,000 a week so he can sit on the bench and play the djembe.
And they're going to lose
the djembe because it's horrible.
They're going to lose Odegaard because Odegaard's not going to play.
Odegaard's going to go to Liverpool.
He's going to go to a team that's playing Champions League soccer. Why would he stay at Arsenal? He did what he had to do. He got into a team and showed that he could play in the Premier League. Now he's going to get picked up by a real club.
Would you want him at Tottenham?
Sure. Why not? He's a great midfielder.
I think he's solid.
I think Tottenham's going to sign Sabitzer, which is a similar role. They've kind of got their mind made up, I think, on him. But regardless, we'll see how we'll talk about transfers in another episode. But yeah,
you want to hop into the week coming up?
Let's get into it. Let's get after it.
It's a hot week. So this is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday games. Friday we got Fulham Wolves. This is just going to be an exciting game because I don't think either team is necessarily a defensive juggernaut this season, and I see this being a high-scoring game. I see a 3-2 on the horizon, but I think I'm going to go 3-2 Wolves.
Long pause. I think
dramatic pause.
2-1 Wolves.
That's fair.
Okay. I don't know what to say. I think Wolves. I just feel bad for Wolves. Jimenez still. It remains to be seen if he's ever going to play soccer again.
I don't think he's ever going to play soccer again. And other people will send me DMs. It's like Jimenez was training. I'm like, dude, he cracked his skull.
Yeah.
And he's a forward. Yeah. Like, I'm sure that people can come back from that, but his head is like a weapon. Like, he uses it. Like, it's not like Peter Cech where you put a skull cap on him and you say, okay, you got to be careful. Like, this dude needs to. How is he going to back down defenders and bring the ball?
Yeah,
like, I just don't understand.
You either have to play all out and not worry about it,
or not play.
And I don't think he can risk hurting himself. It's just too risky for him.
We obviously aren't doctors and don't know the prognosis, but I just assume that, there's one thing.
It's one thing running around on the training pitch. It's another thing playing full out on the field. Yeah.
We'll see. Leeds City is going to be a good one. That's the early game on Saturday.
I just can't see Man City dropping points. They played Champions League. They won their Champions League game, correct? They play again on Tuesday. A game in which they kind of have to win because they tied. They didn't tie. They got a home. Dortmund scored a goal away at City, so they actually have to. They have to play their starters. Well, their quote unquote starters, but they have to rest those guys a little bit and put in. Sterling and which is still good, and Jesus. And
the other thing is City played 31 games. So for most of the season they were two games in hand, but now they're a game ahead of everyone.
Right.
They only have 7 games left. And United's behind them, have played 30 games and are on 60 points. So the math here works out that as long as City crack 84 points, because goal differential isn't a thing, City scored 20 more goals in the goal differential than United. City's it's an unreal season. So once City crack 84 points, they're champions. And that could happen by week 35. So we should probably have champions by week 36, which is exciting in some sense. It's like then that's out of the way. Then we can focus on top 4, top 6, and relegation. So it's not going to come down to the wire unless some, I don't know, an asteroid hits the planet.
I just see City winning 3-1.
I'd say that's fair. Next game is going to be a really good game because the last time these two teams played, Aston Villa took them out behind the shed with mini bats and beat them 7-2, which that was the game that set the tone for the season, that this season is going to be kind of a weird one. It's going to be upset. It's going to be a little bit more predictable, and there's not going to be a 2-horse race that just sucks all the points to the top. What do you think on this one?
It's weird because Liverpool is a worse team off than they were when they lost to Aston Villa 7-2 or whatever it was. Arguably their team is worse.
Their team is weaker. However, Aston Villa may not still have Jack Grealish, which is
very true.
I think Villa win this.
Really?
Villa win yeah.
Nathan Phillips and Kabak are not very good.
No, they're not very good. Liverpool have zero confidence in themselves.
Yeah, they lost pretty
Okay, they
badly.
beat Arsenal at home. They beat Arsenal in the Premier League, great. But then they just got rocked by a subpar Real Madrid team. If you're a Real Madrid fan, give me all the shit you want, but that team, it's not like anything. It's a good team. It's a solid soccer team. But like you said, the two central defenders on Liverpool are just
they're
butter.
rented
It's
defenders.
butter.
They're
It's
rented defenders.
It's butter.
It's bad. No Henderson. Henderson is literally the glue that holds that team together. And with him out injured, Thiago does not serve that role. He does no link up play.
Thiago's been the guy who I thought was one of the best buys to one of the worst buys. It's like he and Werner take that for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this is so exciting. These guys are coming from the Bundesliga, which is a top league in the world. And Thiago just won the Champions League, and now he's going to come play for Liverpool. That's great. That's great for the brand of the Premier League. He has been a nightmare. He just has not clicked. So I'm gonna go Aston Villa 2-1. I don't really know who's gonna score goals. I don't know how that's gonna happen, but I just think Aston Villa are gonna win this game. Liverpool don't convince me right now.
Where is this game? Anfield. Anfield has not been a fortress this year.
It's like a negative fortress.
Yeah, I agree with you. 2-1.
2-1. Next one is a London derby between Chelsea and Crystal Palace. Last time we played them, we beat them 4-0, and it was probably one of Frank Lampard's like statement games because we just ran circles. Crystal Palace since has had better results. Chelsea obviously losing to West Brom. I think we really need these points. And I just don't think Crystal Palace needs these points. Crystal Palace in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 games of the season, they're not really playing for anything.
Nope.
Because they're not going to get relegated. And they're not going to finish higher than 10th.
It's kind of like it's at Selhurst Park with no fans, which maybe I think that matters. I think you still, like, even if you're playing a home game, there are fans there, you want to play for them. So they're like, whatever. I think Chelsea win comfortably 2-0.
I think Chelsea win 2-0. And once again, I'd just love to see a goal from Pulisic, Tommy Abraham, Giroud, Werner. I need to see guys who are in the top score. I hope he does not play Ziyech. He's just been a nightmare in my opinion.
He's going to play him. You know why he's going to play him? Because he didn't play him in Champions League.
I'm dead on the inside.
You got to rest, guys, for Porto.
Sunday, Burnley, Newcastle. What do you got?
Oh God, this is a bit of a mini bat game.
This is probably a candidate for the mini bat, but like an ugly mini bat.
I think it's just going to be 2-2. 2-2 draw. Boring. Because Chris Wood's been in form, I guess if you could call it that.
I like how we use in form when referring to anything Burnley.
Yeah.
Give me a couple words to describe Burnley. In form.
Well, Chris Wood's been playing well.
Yeah, sure.
For Burnley.
Sure.
And Vidra scored a nice goal in the past game. But yeah, it's like, Newcastle is just like whatever.
I think this is the mini bat game of the week. It's going to be just ugly.
Ugly.
Next game's fire, and we already kind of talked about it when we were reviewing week 30, but the Hammers versus Leicester, Hammers versus the Foxes. This is a big game, and I think you and I want a tie as Chelsea and Tottenham fans, just so we have max points lost. If West Ham win this game, it's a serious issue for Chelsea because the points are just starting to not be there. And us losing that West Brom game was not cool. I'm hoping that there's a tie. I would love to see a 1-1 tie.
I would love to see Leicester
1-1.
beat the shit out of West Ham.
Yeah, because we either want the teams ahead of us to win or the teams below us to lose. So we either want a tie or we would want Leicester to win.
Also,
so that way
because
they just stay ahead.
I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of West Ham. Like, they're a London team. If you support a London team and you're seeing West Ham do well, you should not want them to do well. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Two London teams. All right, so I hope Leicester wins or tie.
I hope Leicester beat the shit out of West Ham.
Ooh.
Yeah, I said it.
Ooh. Next game.
Well, Declan Rice isn't playing. Souček, I don't know what's happening with him.
He's fine.
Lingard, maybe Lingardinho, maybe not.
Dude, I put Lingard on my fantasy team. Probably the best thing I ever did since buying Bitcoin.
We'll see. Leicester has real defenders. They have playmakers. They got Maddison back. So, we'll see.
Next one, Spurs United. This is going to be a good game.
It's going to be a boring 1-1 draw. And you know why? Is because I think actually that United may just like sit back and like try to absorb pressure and like try not to get scored on.
I'm like, normally we watch Spurs and Chelsea games together. I'm very questioning whether I'm even going to want to watch this game. Because I watched the United Liverpool game. It was 0-0.
Boring.
I watched the United Chelsea game. Snooze fest 0-0. So I already lost 180 minutes of my life watching United basically do nothing, and Bruno Fernandes just put dimes in the box, and Martial literally shit himself. I don't know if I'm going to watch this game.
Yeah,
I'm just putting that out there.
There may be a penalty that United get. I mean, that's how I see them scoring. A penalty.
You know what I'd like to see score? I'd like to see Son score. Is he playing?
Yeah, Son score.
Just because he hasn't I haven't seen anything from him, honestly, since like October. He's been very quiet.
Yeah.
Very quiet. I'd like to see Son or Bale score. Either one of those would make me happy.
I don't think Bale's starting. I think they're going to stick with the same lineup they had last game with Lucas and then bring in Lamela kind of deal. I just don't see Bale getting in the starting lineup. I don't see Bergwijn getting in. I think it's going to be Lo Celso, then Ndombele, Son, Kane, Lucas.
It's gonna be a good game. I think if it's a close game, there'll be a red card too.
So Son didn't play last game because he's coming off a hamstring injury, and he played the 45 minutes in the second half. Honestly, Lamela might get the start considering he came in and actually created some chances at the end of that game. So I don't know what the lineup is going to be, but I know Bale's not going to start. He might come in if they need a free kick or if they need to do something in the 10 minutes left or something. I don't know, but
they need a free kick.
There's been some chatter though on the Twitter about giving Dyer another chance over Sanchez, like Dyer and Rodon. Which Rodon played well. I think Rodon played well.
Are you guys gonna win this game?
No. Oh God, no. It's gonna be tie 1-1.
It's kind of 1-1. Okay, we're going to the next game.
It's gonna be boring. It's going to be a snoozer, dude.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I probably won't watch it because Arsenal.
Watching
United in these big games. It's
so boring.
I'm dead on the inside.
I mean, they did win the first. Like Spurs won that first game. What was it, 6-2 or something like that?
Right. They blew them out.
They blew them out, and it was like we thought that Ole was going to get the.
We thought Ole was going to get decapitated, and we thought Spurs were going to win the title at that point.
Oh yeah, that was dark.
The up and downs of the Premier League. Next game is Sheffield Arsenal. It's at Bramall Lane. This is a banana peel for Arsenal. Arsenal really need to win this if they have any illusions of grandeur, aka Europa League. Because if they lose this game, if all points are lost, the highest Arsenal finish is 7th, almost mathematically, like in my mind, because of what they still have to play and the points just aren't there. This should be a gimme. This team is relegated. This team is relegated.
No Saka. Aubameyang's mediocre.
I mean, are they gonna
Smith Rowe? I don't even know if Smith Rowe's playing.
I don't know if he is either. And John had those stats when he was on. If Smith Rowe doesn't play, I think Arsenal have a small chance of winning outright. And then it's like they have 20% chance of winning, 60% chance of tying, 40% chance of losing because they're just so flat without him.
I think it's
going to bring in Ceballos and he just plays lateral keep away.
1-1 draw.
Oh man, that's gonna be so painful. So I'm not gonna watch that game either. Nope. All right, Monday, West Brom, Southampton. Southampton should run around, but I don't know. West Brom, they got FIFA 11 Chelsea, so I'm gonna go Southampton 1-0.
I'm gonna go Southampton 3-2.
Actually, Southampton got some nice pieces.
Yeah, they got Ward-Prowse. They got Redmond playing pretty well. They got Armstrong.
Dude, Redmond's
not Armstrong.
Redmond's the bald.
Burnley.
No, Armstrong's right.
Armstrong.
Redmond's the bald Messi. That guy's baller.
They got
Danny Ings.
He's playing well.
English class. They're nice.
No,
okay,
no.
I'm gonna go 3-0.
I was gonna say 3-2, but now I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna say 3-1.
I'll 3-1. I'll meet in the middle. And then finally, you got Brighton Hove and Shampton. Shampton just keep falling down, baby.
I think if Everton don't win this game, they're in real trouble. Real trouble. They're gonna drop out of the conversation. They're gonna drop out of the top 6 conversation.
You think so?
If they don't win this game, yes.
Let's review who Everton still has to play. Everton play Brighton Hove. Then they play Tottenham, which is going to be a big game. Then they play Arsenal. Then they play Aston Villa, West Ham, Wolves, and City.
Yes.
Dude, Everton may not even finish top 10, and that's rough. But, they're not beating City. Wolves is a tough. West Ham's probably beating them. Aston Villa's going to give them a game. Arsenal's maybe a tie. I think Spurs beat them. The points just aren't there.
I think if they lose this game, Aston Villa win this game, right? So they're tied on points if they lose. We can't be talking about them for top 6. I just don't see them taking that many points out of their last 7 games.
If they win this game,
okay,
then they're
up in 5th or 6th. It depends on how everybody else does, and it's the same thing.
It all depends. It's all in the flow. But if they win this game, they're okay. They got a game in hand. They're okay.
Who's the game in hand against?
I don't know, but I'm just saying they got a game. They've only played 29, and most of the top 6 teams have played 30 plus games. Anyways, I don't think that they're going to finish top 6. I just don't think so. I think Liverpool edges them out, which is horrible to say.
I will continue to repeat, their goal differential is 3, okay? Arsenal's is 5. Aston Villa's is 11. Liverpool's is 15. Tottenham is 19. That is a stat that absolutely matters.
Yeah, because Everton are essentially one massive blowout away from being negative, which literally means they are barely winning games by a half a goal per game when they win. What
I'm saying is that stat, the reason why they use that stat to, if you're tied on points, is because it is literally the stat that is a telling metric of how your season is going.
Of your power of your season.
Yes.
I love the grin. You guys can't see it. The grin on Jeff's face. He just loves that Shampton's living up.
It's just
Jeff. They'll always have the September September Premier League winners.
I know they got a little trophy.
They got a trophy. It's like a 1-inch trophy. Actually, it's not even a trophy. It's a digital trophy. They gave him an NFT for that. It hangs at the stadium.
No, I actually don't really have a problem with Everton fans or anything like that. It was just they were so smug that 1 month. That's
smug.
It just turned me off.
I think they beat Spurs the first game on that kind of weird call, and you just hate them.
Yeah. Well,
I have no problem with the Toffees. I think
it's fine. It's fine.
That's it. Let's look at fantasy. Let's see how bad Oz is mini batting the rest of us.
Yeah, we don't talk about him.
I don't even think Oz enjoys fantasy.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He's just running away with it. I did maybe move up a place.
I'm up to 9th. Big deal. I'm 2 points ahead of Mac Deasy. I'm up to 9th. You're up to 5th.
Yeah, I moved up.
Dude, the takeover is happening. Oz is 377 points ahead of me. That is ungodly.
Yeah, he's 215 points. He's 240 points ahead of me.
All right.
Wait a second. If I get into top 4, okay, which is conceivable because I'm only about 5 points behind Los Bandoleros, what do I get? What does top 4 get you?
We've only talked about the winner. What should top 4 get?
Top 4 should get something. I mean, we always talk about top 4 like it's just fucking
all right,
MacGuffin.
If you're listening to this and you DM us with an idea of what top 4 should get. Because the winner will get multiple things of swag, which still haven't been dropped.
Yeah, the swag
But
game.
I basically have till May to drop them, so that way the winner
God.
can get them.
Jarrett hoped we went on hiatus for a couple weeks, and Jarrett still hasn't.
We went on hiatus for
any
6 months.
Movement of the swag game.
Dude, we were trying to get swag done for Black Friday.
Dude, we have designs.
Well, we have tons of designs. We're also going to drop NFTs eventually, which is going to be a whole different. I don't think we've talked about that in the pod. We're going to drop NFTs.
Yeah, we got a strong NFT.
Yeah, get your crypto game
up. Start, strengthen your crypto wallets.
Yeah, if you just have dollars in your wallet, you're a fool.
Yeah, you got to get that ETH.
Yeah, Boys and Balls will slowly turn into an NFT crypto talk show. We're not worried about the Premier League.
But no, NFTs are looking good.
The NFTs are looking good. We're getting them 3D'd, and so they'll move. It's fun.
We're working. We got an artist on board. We'll put all the info out there.
The info will be out on the webs.
It'll be out there.
The interwebs.
And you'll be able to purchase it, trade it.
You just
talk
can't
about
use
it.
your daddy warbucks. You need to get
put it up in your virtual reality house.
Yeah, in your 3D casa.
Yep.
Well, that's it. Oz is mini batting us. The bottom 3 is always the same because those player hitters. Who's on these teams? I'm gonna look at Graham's gang. Who's on this team? Bellerin in the back. Ugh. It's actually not even a bad team. It just doesn't produce. Well, that's I think that's it for right now. Week 31 is going to be a big one. West Ham Leicester game is very telling. If West Ham win that game, they're hanging around to mess shit up. That's the one outcome I don't want from this week. Obviously, I want to see Chelsea beat Crystal Palace, but if you're thinking about top 4 and you're a Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, even Everton fan, you need West Ham to start to kind of drop points.
Well, that game is at London Stadium. So, we'll see, Leicester. See if you can do it. It's not the King Power.
Well, thanks for meeting me in your basement again.
Well, until next time.
Ciao.
Ciao. Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Twitch at Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out. You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.